Hello, Sanvarani, Dumalang, and welcome to your #1 youth show, Expressions. And well, South Africans from all walks of life will be commemorating Human Rights Day, as well as 30 years of democracy. Human Rights Month is observed to remind South Africans about the sacrifices that accompany the struggle for the attainment of democracy. As the country commemorates these two, Expressions puts a spotlight on the thorny issue of access to land by South Africans, young and old. Where do we as young people stand on the land issue? Has expropriation benefited young people? This is a very important discussion with Aliyema. We're also going to be opening our line so that
Absolutely, absolutely, Madlongoti. Thanks very much, Madlongoti. South African, of course. I'm your host today, Mavumisa. Great to have you, Dasotlelwini. Now, when land corruption happens, people are not merely deprived of a resource, but actually their very ability to sustain their families is also at risk. Now, their constitutional and even their human rights to some extent is violated. Now, as Kolos had said, we are asking the question, has expropriation of land actually worked? In fact, what about even those particular communities that have been living and actually working on the land? How far do their rights go? Now, let's take a look at this report that was compiled by our Expressions producer, Umziana Mbela.
Ngihlala ukusukela lapho ngisaphilelwa indoda yami isebenza la kulomlu yase yona iyashona ngasala nabantwana besihleli nabantwana bami kodwa into bengiphila ngayo ile inkomo zami ngoba abantwana bebasenga ibisi ngilithengise ngikwazi ukuthi ngithole imali bafika bathi bayangixosha bafuna ngisuke kulindawo bafuna ukwakha la bavimbile ngisendaweni yabo ngabuza ke mina ukuthi ngizawuhamba ngiyephi ngoba mina ngineyinkomo ngibona mina bayasebenza labakha izindlu abanginiki indawo yeinkomo zami abasho ukuthi ngihambe ngiyephi bathi nje lapha bafuna ukwakha manje ngizawusala ngedwa ngisale kanjani ngedwa bathi abantwana bami bahambe ngithi kuba ngihambe mina ngihleli la akukho la ngiyakhona
masithi sizama something basitshela ukuthi siyahamba asikwazi ukuthi sitshale umkhulu la ekhaya bekumuntu otshalayo bathathe amasimi bakhe izindle emasimini so nje asikwazi ukwenza next and ngapha imisebenzi iyantuleka so nje basibamba izandla kakhulu
inkinga nje esikhulu enkulu kakhulu amanzi ngoba noma sithi sinamagalini asikhona ukuzenzela ukudla amanzi ayashoda amanzi siyawalethelwa siwalethela kodwa amavaterikani ingena kanye ngeviki kwesikhathi kanye ngenyanga bese sekugcineni uthola ukuthi umakhulu usephuza amanzi nezimbongolo nezinkomo amanzi asalandwa le enzansi emfuleni
akukho la ongathi uyakhona yonke indawo malokishini kuyo yonke indawo kugcwele so uma masuka la njengoba lo muntu asusa akukho la sizoyakhona asazi ukuthi sophuma ngakuphi sibhekephi so la indawo esikhulele kuyo esazi imvelaphi yakhona
umama uMakhumalo nefamily yakhe akayazi lento okuthiwa human rights human rights has been elusive kule family kuna-injustice eyenzekayo apha hayi ubulungisa umama Makhumalo yena zange abufumane njengoba uMakhumalo ena-86 years njena ucacile into yoba if le meko ayilungiswa ngoku ugovernment ayintervene.
Well, there you have it, Mbugilo Expressions. I mean, that's really an honest, disheartening story to find out, particularly when we are in the midst of celebrating democracy. 30 years, just shortly, we're going to be celebrating democracy, and also shortly, we are going to be celebrating human rights. But, you know, let's expand on this particular conversation. And joining me on the panel today, I do have Advocate Nkosinathi Malkas, who is an expertise person in terms of constitutional law and human rights, and he also specializes in the restitution process. Particularly, you just saw him there in that particular insert. He was also part and parcel and involved in that particular insert that you just watched. And also joining us is Ernest J. Van Zyl, who is the head of public relations at AfriForum. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us on the show, and welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let me start with you, Advocate. I mean, just paint us a picture in terms of, I mean, Obokona Nawe, when that particular insert was shot. Just walk us through in terms of when you talk about land and restitution and redistribution, what are we talking about?
Thank you. Thank you. Manqale ndibulise ababukeli emakhaya. Ndibulise nakuwe. In the aftermath of apartheid political administration, the South African government developed what we refer to as the South African Land Reform Program, which consisted of the land redistribution, restitution of land rights, as well as security of tenure. The land redistribution was meant to transfer 30% of land, of commercial agricultural land to black people within the period of 5 years of democracy. That was never achieved and shifted to 15 years. The restitution of land rights was meant to restore the land